Valak is back to cause trouble in The Nun 2, which takes place 4 years after the first film, but, chronologically speaking, still takes place more than 10 years before The Conjuring. The shocking revelation that Frenchie, Jonas Bloket, was the same Morris who we witnessed being exorcised by Ad and Lorraine Warren in the first Conjuring film came at the end of the first film. Unaware that Valak might now utilize him as a puppet for the demon nun's horrible actions, the nun watched him go forth to live his life. This time it includes Valak searching for a holy item that would grant him angelic superpowers and embarking on a murderous rampage across Europe from Hungary to France. Sister Irene, Tessa Farmiga, is the only thing standing in the demon nun's way. All of this builds to a crazy conclusion that may perhaps upend the established chronology of The Conjuring. However, in order to fully explain everything, we must reveal some huge spoilers for The Nun 2, so if you haven't seen it yet, turn away now. In order to reclaim the power that was taken from the demon when it was an angel that God rejected, Valak is pursuing the eyes of St. Lucy, the patron saint of the blind. It turns out that Morris, who works as a handyman at the boarding school, has buried those eyes in the church. Since the demon has just started murdering persons who own rosary beads bearing St. Lucy's family crest, it's unknown whether Valak is aware of the whereabouts of the relic. However, when Sister Irene and Sister Deborah, Storm Reed, appear, the demon undoubtedly discovers the truth. Morris, who has now been completely taken over by Valak, is tied up by Irene and Deborah with the assistance of instructor Kate and her daughter Sophie. When they uncover the relic beneath the chapel's floor, Valak has already escaped. There is a struggle for the relic that finally results in Valak obtaining it and using it to power up, which means disaster for everyone. It's alright though, because Irene realizes she is actually descended from St. Lucy herself and begins to think of her late mother in an attempt to heal herself. Valak flares up when they, along with Deborah, transform the red wine, which has now filled the room, into the blood of Jesus. After that, Irene is able to free Morris from Valak's grasp, and everything works out nicely with Morris returning to his job at the school and appearing to have a new family with Kate and Sophie. Wait a moment though. While The Nun 2 is set in 1956, Valak is undoubtedly still engaged in demonic activity in The Conjuring 2, which is set in 1977. What gives? Morris also undoubtedly passes away before The Conjuring in 1971. Does The Nun 2 need to fill in any plot holes it made? The logical response to this is that no, The Nun 2 hasn't created a narrative hole, unless they've decided to start a new chronology that would utterly upend the Conjuring universe. But it does require another film to make things clear. It's also conceivable that Morris is still under Valak's influence in some form towards the end of the sequel, or that if he is free at that point, Valak will return to control him before his ill-fated exorcism. It was revealed in The Conjuring that Morris's attempt to kill his wife was unsuccessful, as he was only able to shoot her in the arm before taking his own life. For a likable guy, it's an unhappy finish, but that's canon. Kate from The Nun 2 could possibly be revealed as that wife. Given that the nun disclosed that Valak gave Lorraine a vision of Ed's death, which prompted her to isolate herself in her bedroom for 8 days, we may be certain that Valak is the one who is inhabiting Morris at the time of his exorcism. Valak must therefore return at some point to straighten up the timeline. The Nun 2 may have ended this manner to set up a third, and most likely final, Nun film, which would have connected everything to Morris's exorcism. But for the time being, we may enjoy The Nun 2's happy finale, even though we know that unfortunate Morris will have a very unhappy finish.